Glad you could be with us here for this Monday edition of the broadcast. And we got more news and information to get into with you here on the broadcast today. You can always email us, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. And we'd love to have your comments, questions, guest suggestions, anything else there at the email address, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. And please support our work and what we're doing here with the network. The way you do that to help us pay the bills every month is use the chip-in banner for that. And the other way that you help us by helping us for the films or to grow and buy more equipment, anything else, is the donate button. So any other donations that you want to put there that don't apply to paying the bills and everything else, use the donate button for that. We also have the monthly subscription service where you can, there's a drop down menu there. All this stuff is on the right hand side of the page at theglobalreality.com. And you can subscribe and become a member. And you can have a monthly pledge that will come out of your bank account automatically. You don't have to come back and make a donation every month and use the chip and banner. It just comes out automatically, and that helps us as well. All my documentary films on DVD you can order and buy. The Secret Right Volume 1, if you want to, get caught up and get a DVD copy of that before Volume 2 comes out in about the next month and a half or so. You can buy my films there. You can get a Secret Right Volume 1, 9/11 New World Rising, which came out in 2007. That's there as well. And we also have all of the video clips and other documentary films I've done on YouTube. They're all up there as well. Also, under music CDs tab, you can get CDs up there by Delphi. You can get CDs up there by Jamie Reeves, my other bandmates. And you can also get CDs by our band, the Demigods, as well. So all that stuff is up there, and it all goes back into the effort of just trying to get people to really just think for themselves. I mean, none of this is about trying to get anybody towards a particular way of thinking. I certainly don't ever attempt to try to do that. That's we've had enough of that, don't you think? My goodness. But the idea, which is becoming more and more of a vanquished idea every day, but not if we have anything to do with it, but this idea that yes, you are the one that is correct. You are the one that has the power to decide and determine your own destiny and your own future. Not a religion, not a government, not anybody else. You and all of us, all individuals. See, that's an idea that can get spread out through the entire planet. And if that idea gets spread out through the planet, people would have no need to become subservient to something higher or bigger than themselves. The only thing you should be subservient to, higher and bigger than yourself, is the universe, which you're a part of and came from anyway. The only thing that has a hierarchy is that hierarchy in which we create or we give our power to. If every person could understand that they are as big and grandiose and important as everything in the universe they think is big and grandiose and important, boy, we could start to get somewhere as a species, couldn't we? But no, instead we've got eugenicists and racists and all these other people running around, priest class minion bozos who are operating on sacred and secret knowledge that they are deeming too hot and too wide scoping for us to understand, because of course we're all still children and only they know best. And meanwhile, they run this planet on this platform of the restriction of knowledge. And all those things are what we try to get our way around here and work around. That's what it's all about. Anyway, let's continue on here with the news. An extensive study of tree growth rings says that there could be a link between the rise and fall of past civilizations and sudden shifts in Europe's climate. Well, that's one of the things that we've talked here about on the show many times. We've read many articles about different ice age cycles and solar minimums, and how historically when the sun is going through cycles in the same way it is now, we start to see currency devaluations happen. We see coup d'etats, government overthrows, changes of power. This is historical data. And it does make a lot of sense as why many of the world religions have been based on sun worship. And where this idea of sun worship came to be in the begin with. I mean, it's very interesting that, in an absolute fact, that human events and human things that happen within our society are very much affected by the cycles of the sun, whether we want to admit that or not. And it says that a team of researchers based their findings on data from 9,000 wooden artifacts from the past 2,500 years. They found that periods of warm, wet summers coincided with prosperity, while political turmoil occurred during times of climate instability. So I love how, more and more of this comes out that, yes, there's been climate change and things where you've had dramatic swings in the Earth climate prior to there being man-made carbon emissions. This is a very important distinction that needs to be made here. Looking back on 2,500 years, there are examples where climate change impacted human history. The team capitalized on a system used to date material unearthed during excavations. Archaeologists have developed oak ring width chronologies from the Central Europe that cover nearly the entire Holocene and have used them for the purpose of dating artifacts, historical buildings, unique artwork, and furniture. Chronologies of living and relict oaks may reflect distinct patterns of summer precipitation and drought. The team looked at how weather over the past couple of years of centuries affected living tree growth rings. During good growing seasons, when water and nutrients are in plentiful supply, trees form broad rings with their boundaries relatively far apart. But in unfavorable conditions, such as drought, the rings grow in a much tighter formation. The researchers then used this data to reconstruct annual weather patterns from the growth rings preserved in the artifacts. Once they developed a chronology stretching back over the past 2,500 years, they identified a link with prosperity levels in past societies, such as the Roman Empire. Wet and warm summers occurred during periods of Roman and medieval prosperity. Increased climate variability from 250 to 600 AD coincided with the demise of the Western Roman Empire and the turmoil of the migration period. Distinct drying in the 3rd century paralleled a period of serious crisis in the Western Roman Empire marked by barbarian invasion, political turmoil, and economic dislocation in several provinces of Gaul. Dr. Bunkin explained that we are aware of these super big data sets, and we brought them together and analyzed them in a new way to get the climate signal. If you have enough wood, the dating is secure. You just need a lot of material and a lot of rings. I mean, that right there alone should prove that, my goodness, why isn't that all? I mean, this is a BBC News article. This is, it's fairly mainstream. I would say BBC is about as mainstream as you can get. What I'm saying is that, they said right there in that article that they're able to tell that there were climate change events going on over the past 2,500 years, which should blow holes in the idea of anthropogenic global warming more than it already has. People who still believe in man-made global warming are just uninformed anyway. We go through massive heating and cooling cycles, and the only reason they've ever tried to sell us on this idea of man-made global warming and carbon change and climate change is so they can institute these institute these artificial scarcity programs in order to maintain their fossil fuel supremacy into the future. You always have these right-wingers who are, it's all those dirty commie lefty liberals that want to that tell us that global warming is real, blah, 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 blah. No, asshat. It's your team who cooked up this whole global warming scheme to begin with. Who do you think cooked it up? It wasn't the pinko commie lefty liberals. It was the big oil companies and the right-wingers who cooked this thing up so they can continue their supremacy in the future. Because if we could just run out of oil and not have to worry about this and worry about everything being shifted around this, we could have alternative energy sources, and they've been on the shelf for 100 years. Free energy devices and free energy sources have been on the shelf for 100 years. But they gain more power by taking away more freedoms and making people more and more indentured servants to their system by creating artificial scarcity. And yes, they're going to be doing that with food and water next. And it's all horseshit. We have everything we need on this planet. We've been provided with everything we need on this planet to live and survive and have enough for all. But we're told, no, there's not enough for all. And we need to go kill and maim and destroy those people over there and take what they have so we'll have enough. And it's just a broken model that is that the people of the future are not going to hang on to anymore. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 10, 20, 30 years if we make it that long when some of these, elite fat cows start dying off and their children and start taking over. I think I have a lot of hope for the next generation of people that's coming over, because it's going to either going to get real bad or a lot better. But I don't think the status quo is going to stay the same as it has over the last 100 years. I think we're going to start to see a major shift, and there's going to be a major shift in this stuff, whether they like it or not. That's what the age of revealing is all about, and that's exactly where we are right now. We are in the age of revealing, where all will be revealed. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. The facade of the past years will now come melting away, and everything will be exposed for everyone to see, and this is where the new order will be created out of. So the question is, are we going to be the creators of the new order, or are we going to be the followers of it? I don't think it's a very hard choice to decide which side you'd want to be on as far as that goes. But that's really what it boils down to. Do we want to step up to the plate, put aside what people think about us, put aside all these worries of being judged by our friends and our family or whoever else for speaking our minds, speaking our hearts, and standing up for what we believe in? Or are we just going to remain spectators in all this? And all it requires of you to become a participant and not a spectator is just to become someone who is not afraid to stand up and say what they believe on these issues and get into people's comfortable little worlds and shake them up a little bit. That's the biggest thing. People just need their comfortable little world shaken up. And I hope with the films I'm working on coming out with and putting out, we'll be able to have a large hand in doing that. Secret Right Volume 2, and then some of the other films I'm planning on working on as well. I want to do a film on transhumanism, and that'll tie into the Caesar 3. I really want to work on doing that film next. And then Secret Knowledge film I want to come out with. I want to do a film on the work of Blavatsky. I've got a lot of stuff to do, and I don't know how much time I got to do it, considering world events, but we just keep pushing ahead and forging ahead with what we're all trying to do, man. The whole big thing is to not let them overcome you with their fear and their response that they want you to have. That's the big thing. If we can maintain our balance in all of this, and we can find ways to adapt to these new coming world changes, and find ways to adapt and evolve and survive inside of it without succumbing and being overwhelmed by fear, then we will survive and we will have the kind of world that we all want to live in. But if we succumb to the fear and we allow ourselves to be manipulated the way we've been manipulated up to this point, the powers that be telling us that, though, this person over here is the threat, or this country over here is the threat, and now the way it's looking in the future, this planet over here is the threat, or this star system over here is a threat, or this group of extraterrestrials over here is the threat. You see, it's always some outside threat that we have to arm ourselves against and protect, because, of course, making peace with all peoples of all countries and planets and universes is I guess, a far-fetched idea that nobody wants to engage in. It's very easy when you start to find out about the New World Order and the Illuminati and the Central European bankers and the priest class and the secret societies. It's very easy to get into a frame of mind and a mindset where, because you have all these different groups and all this knowledge and all these different groups and what they're doing, what they have done, it's very easy to have a permanent scapegoat for everything. And I think that's just as dangerous as not having any information or knowing anything about the world around you. Because if we just continue to, every time something shakes us up or something of importance happens, if we just say, yeah, well, it's those damn bankers, or, well, yeah, it's a damn New World Order, or that's that damn, Illuminati, or that's the damn priest class. Well, see, then we just say, okay, well, now that we have that information, we didn't have that before, but now that we know about all this information, well, it just seems that we have a scapegoat and an easy thing to blame for everything that happens. That's dangerous. Because then we're not taking any of the responsibility on ourselves to change this. We're just saying, well, it's that group over there, or it's this group over here, or, yeah, well, the Illuminati strikes again, or the priest class strikes again, or the bankers strike again, whatever. And then we've assigned blame and we move on to whatever the next thing is. I think that's dangerous. I think it needs to be talked about. I think it needs to be put out there. That's a dangerous road we don't want to go down. We don't want to find ourselves constantly assigning the blame for all this stuff to, whatever shadowy New World Order group is hot to talk about that week. And instead, we need to understand that the only reason this stuff happens is because we continue to allow it to happen. That's why we need everybody out there. We need every single person speaking out about this stuff. It doesn't require you to become a member of some political party. And if somebody tries to tell you that it does, then you need to run away from that person quick, fast, and in a hurry anyway. If somebody tries to tell you, oh, just come over here with us on the right wing and vote for one of our right wingers over here, Ron Paul or something, run away from that. If somebody comes to you on the outside, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. No. This doesn't require you to become a part of a group or a club or a cult or anything else. It simply requires that you speak up and say, I will not allow this to happen in the name of humanity and in the name of me as a person and everybody else in this world. And if we could just get everybody in the world to speak out and say, no, I'm not going to take this anymore, we could change things. But instead, that energy is being hijacked into phony political parties, phony movements like the phony truth movement, and the phony patriot movement, and all this stuff, and the phony new age movement, religions, all of this. All this energy towards wanting to actually do what is in the best interest of humanity is being hijacked into these political parties that are then neutralized and never go anywhere and nothing is achieved. They've been doing this for a long time. It's time to break that cycle. And that's what I continue to try to do with exposing groups like the Council for National Policy, the Jesuit Order, Los Alumbrados Society, the really genesis point of the Bavarian Illuminati and, the other groups who came after that. But this is why it's important that we continue to just every day learn as much as we can, talk about this as much as we can, put as much of this stuff out there for other people to find it as we can. This stuff didn't come in overnight, and it sure as hell ain't going to leave overnight. And the one thing I've learned since I've been doing this show for now almost 4 years has been patience. And we have to have patience in finding solutions, patience in changing these things. And don't be frustrated by, doing all this stuff for years and years and years like I have, and seemingly feeling like you've never gotten anywhere with it. You have gotten somewhere with it. I have gotten somewhere with my show. We're reaching thousands of people now. Hundreds of thousands of people all over this planet have listened to my show and watched my films Literally hundreds of thousands. Almost every country on this planet I've reached people in now. Little old me over here. But yeah, it's not always instantaneous. But again, this stuff didn't come in overnight, did it? So it's foolish to think we're going to solve this overnight. People run around all the time. Oh, I want to hear a solution. I want to hear a solution. Ah! Well, you're not going to get a quick and easy solution. Not going to be a quick and easy solution. This stuff didn't happen overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight. But everything that every one of us can do and put out there can be a part of the greater whole towards changing things for the better for this planet and for humanity. And that's really what I'm concerned with. I'm not concerned with stand up for the Constitution and the flag and one nation under God, and that's what we fight in the New World Order for. No. This is bigger than the United States. This is bigger than the country. We are talking about the survival of our species here, people. That's what we're up against. These people want us all dead so they can merge with machines and become living gods. Don't you know that? It's a fact. So this is bigger than, we got to save the Constitution. Blah, blah, blah. But we will not be defeated. That I do know. Well, we're getting closer to getting what we need for to finish the soundtrack on the Secret Right 2. We're about $400 out, man. If anybody wants to help out with that, you please use the donate button, the chipping banners there to help us pay the bills, whatever else. Anything else, we could always need more cash. And then the more cash we have, the more stuff that we can do. So please help us out if you can. And we appreciate everybody out there who has supported us and has helped us out. And you mean more to us than you ever will know. I tell you that, folks. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you.